All right, we're live. Cool.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Why don't you introduce yourself to my audience, and I will introduce myself to you. So, tell me about your history and sort of how you began your journey to really helping out entrepreneurs to actually grow their brands online, and history in that.
Sure. Well, as you're aware, Jamie, I've got a marketing background, and I started my marketing journey right after university. I went to work for a large multinational called Unilever.
Fantastic.
So you might recognise some of their brands: Streets Ice Cream, Rexona.
Wow, very large brands.
Omo, those sort of things, Dove, and had an incredible journey building these large brands and working for other corporates. Building multi-million-dollar brands.
Yeah.
Until the day I thought, you know what, I was burnt out. Absolutely burnt out.
Always happens, doesn't it? After you
And
get
it was never enough.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars of profit was never enough. And I could see that entrepreneurs were struggling to get their business moving. They had incredible talent or amazing product and service to give to the world. And the world was actually waiting for their gifts, but in fact, they had trouble communicating their value and getting that visibility. And that's what I'm trying to do. So that's my passion, to really help people get out there, differentiate themselves and spread their message. So
how do you define someone who sort of has that like really good quality brand as opposed to just someone who's half in and half out? Like what separates a sort of really high-end entrepreneur brand as opposed to the one that comes across as a real home job or someone who's not fully engaged in it yet?
Well, what we try and position ourselves, or what we want, is to become that authority brand, that go-to person, the recognised go-to person in the marketplace. And a lot of people make the mistake that you have to be the best.
This is true. You don't have to be the best. It's all about the best positioning and the best marketing. It's not always about the product that like always wins. And as unfortunate as it is, the marketplace rewards attention. Like if you can get the attention and then hold it, then you're able to not only help your clientele, but you're also able to sell your product too.
Exactly. I mean, people unfortunately think that if I just, do good work and work
and be
really
honest
hard,
and put in 100 hours a week,
everyone's just going to recognize me and all that sort of thing. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, you might have the best product, you might have the best service, but you are not necessarily going to be market leader.
The most well known.
No.
Yeah.
And
so how do you define someone who like has that thing? Like, is it that they have a lot of content out there? Is it that they have super clarity on their product and sort of who it's for?
Yeah, good question. So you've got to be really clear on who your target is, and often we want a niche because we can own a market. So if I help entrepreneurs, it's hard to own that market. It's hard to be the authority. But if I help mumpreneurs trying to build a business online,
wow, so that's a niche in a niche almost, whereby it is for a certain type of entrepreneur who are keen to have a certain outcome. So that is almost a niche within a niche.
Exactly. And what happens is the media. There's a story in that. If I just help entrepreneurs, they're not going to come knocking on your door.
Got it.
And like you said, increased visibility equals increased credibility. So yes, the more you're out there, the more someone Googles you. Did you know that 78% of people will Google you before meeting with you?
That is the best.
What are they going to find?
That is the best, yeah, true.
And over 50% of people have said they didn't choose a vendor because of either the information they found or did not find.
Wow.
Sometimes if there's not enough information, or if you Google Jamie and nothing comes up, it's suspicious. But you might be really good.
Yeah, really good at it. That's insane. Well, I'm glad that if you type in my name, I do come up everywhere. So that's good, but that's insane, and that makes sense. So, like, if people can't see anything on you online in this day and age, you're like very suspicious. It's kind of like, why is he online anyway?
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And you know, is it fair? Is it not fair? I don't know, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, true. It is true. So then, why is it important that, say, you know, entrepreneurs planning the next 12 months of the 2017 put time and sort of energy into this area of their whole project?
A couple of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you know, people say, why do I need a personal brand when I've got a business brand, right?
Yes, that can you answer that question? Because that I think is crucial.
And it leads to what you were saying. Well, first of all, we've got to realise you've got a personal brand, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're doing anything about it or not, whether you want one or not.
Mm-hmm.
And people already have an impression of you.
Got it.
And if you leave it up to chance, or if you leave it up to someone else to define you, I can guarantee you won't have the image and the reputation that you want. You have to take control.
Yes.
The next issue is that people want to do business with people. We want to do business with people we like and trust.
Yes. And not just like a corporate entity.
No, and these days with the internet and everything that's available to us, they expect to be able to see who's behind these companies and also who you are and what your values are. They want to connect with you.
Yeah.
And the third reason is, like, let's face it, a lot of us are working in industries or providing services that are similar to other people. You know, if you're the only one in your market,
that is a concern.
And so people will copy your business model, they'll copy your services, they'll copy your products, you know, just like that. But no one can be Jamie. The way you do it.
Got it.
So it's actually your key differentiator. It's one of the last sustainable competitive advantages remaining to us.
Agreed.
And it's how, you know, what you do may not be totally unique, but it's you, the way you deliver it. It's what you bring from all the experience you've had. You've had a different background to someone else, you know, teaching people how to do launches. And that, you are actually your biggest differentiator in your business rather than the product.
I like that a lot. So in terms of a corporate brand and your personal brand, how sort of would you separate those two, and what would that look like on the front end to, say, like a prospect?
Well, that's a good point, and I talk about the brand triad. We've actually got 3 brands we work with. And Apple are a very good example of this. How if you incorporate them and make them work together, you have a very strong entity. So you've got the corporate brand. So let's take Apple. Let's assume that brand is all about intuitive, you know, technology and the back end and all that sort of thing. And Steve Jobs was the
genius behind it, if you will.
Well, he brought that element of, you know, love of design and simplicity and all of that sort of thing. So already the values of Steve Jobs sort of filter through the company. The values of the company filter back to Steve Jobs, and then you've got your product brands. So the Mac, the iPod, and they'll have different values. And if you strategize and understand what everyone leads with, you get a really strong entity. And that's what Apple do really, really well.
That's fantastic.
They do branding well.
They do branding well, indeed. So in terms of people trying to do it on their own, or say if they've been in it for the last 3 to 4 years and say they are keen to now change their brand, or say they are keen to begin pushing it properly, what are the common flaws you see that people try to do either too quickly or they do incorrectly and it's just a complete mess?
One of the biggest flaws I see when people try to build their authority is they have someone they admire and they try and be them.
Yeah, got it.
Well,
as opposed to be
so
who
if
you
I
are.
admire Anthony Robbins, that's great.
Oh,
but
I've seen
Anthony Robbins. I'm never going to be. I'm not his personality. I'm not. I just can't do it.
And it's interesting because some people get into that and get into that industry from Anthony Robbins. Like they might go to his event and they enjoy it so much that they are keen to then reteach or become a coach of his, and they try to copy his brand and they don't grow their brand or their company any real approach because they aren't being themselves and they look and sound like everyone else as well.
Yes, and people are smart. They can sense that it's not authentic.
People are smart.
And so I'm all for looking at people you admire, studying how they got there.
Seeing how they actually executed.
Yeah, all of that, absolutely. But don't try and be them. I've heard people say the same stories, personal stories. I'm sure that was Anthony Robbins' story, but okay.
Oh my God, that is so bad. That's interesting. Wow.
And so, actually, there's a fellow in Queensland, Kuruk Ashley. He's a really good public speaker, motivator, and so forth. And years ago, I met his wife, who had started speaking, and she said, she borrowed some of Kuruk's jokes because he's just a superb public speaker. And when he says these jokes, everyone laughs. She said, so she's up there speaking, and she says these jokes, and there's nothing, just a polite And she thought, maybe it's just this group, and she tries it again, and nothing. And she said to me, I had to learn that I have to have my voice.
Yeah.
You can't just take someone else's image and personality and even material and just pass it off as your own.
Correct.
It doesn't work.
How do you tell your clients to really find their own voice, and sort of how do you tell people to go into that and really produce it?
The first thing we have to do is own it. Everything we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's another mistake people make, is they think we have to be perfect. The reality is we hate perfect people because it doesn't ring true and we don't relate to perfect
Correct.
people.
So always sort of own your flaws. And what I tend to find is that every flaw is a sort of, is a sort of opportunity to create something out of it as well. Yeah. Example would be for my high school, because I quit high school because of my speech, it allowed me to go online, and through that I've learned so much and I've done really, really well online. And in just owning that sort of flaw, if you will, if you can even call it that, you're able to really create an amazing upside from that, And I think when people begin to own that, not only do they have a character in their brand now, but they have that really cool track history that seems real and it seems congruent as well.
And exactly, you're spot on. People relate to our struggles and the fact that we all ultimately feel the same emotions. And we feel frustrated, we feel scared sometimes, exactly. And that's what people relate to when you're being vulnerable. It's actually not your story, it's your story. But I can relate to the fear of, putting yourself out there or whatever it was, or admitting to a fault. It's actually quite hard the first time you become vulnerable and you admit, you failed here. But once they see the results, all of a sudden they go, oh my God, people are just really engaged and connected and wanted to do business with me. And so, it's a massive opportunity.
Can you share the story about your client who got approached by her dream client?
Yes.
So cool.
There was a lady who lives in Indonesia, came and did one of my programs. And funnily enough, she'd never even thought or heard of personal branding until she came to the program. And during the program, she set the intent that she's a consultant and she wanted to work for the World Bank. Now, one of the...
Pretty large goal.
It's a pretty big goal. And one of the opportunities of having a recognised authoritative brand is that opportunities come to you.
Yes.
And that's a lot easier than
trying
knocking,
to
cold calling.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, and 8 months after working on her personal brand, so, you know, going through all the templates and everything, the World Bank approached her.
I love that. That's so cool.
They came to her and asked her if she'd consult on a
That's
program
amazing.
for them.
That's so cool.
So that's powerful.
It is, and I think when you take the time to really plan out and sort of execute it slowly, I mean, 8-9 months isn't an overly long time, but because she actually implemented it, and you know, I assume she hadn't hit the ground sprinting. I assume like she went through the proper exercises and like went through it properly, as opposed to, you know, just creating content for the sake of creating content. And like actually working on the brand, you know, then these things can happen as well.
That's a really important point that you mentioned, because one of the biggest mistakes I see is people spreading themselves too thinly. There is
in terms of the content, or in terms of who they're trying to appeal to.
In terms of the content,
got it.
Trying to do or be out there. We said before that it certainly, you know, the more you've got out there, the better. But you have to approach it strategically and with leverage, because it's it could be a full-time job, but we've all got our businesses, unless you can hire someone. And even then, to manage your personal brand, it's sort of... It needs to be you. Yeah, it needs to be you. Yeah. So it's not just about going nuts and putting out content out there. There's got to be a method and a process, and it is far better to do it systematically and build on it strategically than just go off. I see entrepreneurs just try and do everything straight away, and they do nothing well, rather than if they just focused on, say, one channel.
Just focus on that channel and all
you build it up.
Yeah, you build it up. Got it. Understood.
So we all start at, you know, at the bottom, so to speak, and we just build up our content and build up. We may focus on an avenue that's really right for us, and then we add something else, and then we keep going.
Cool. What are your predictions for the next 12 months in the personal branding space? Do you see any online trends that are looking interesting? Are you looking at anything new? Do you have any sort of theories in that sort of platform, or do you see anything that like caught your eye, like, I might play on that platform a little bit later? Or
I think we all have to watch technology and the developments there in communication, and certainly I think what we all have to be aware of is today, you know, we have to be available, but...
You mean in terms of your prospects being able to connect with you?
Connect with us, and also have this sort of real-time persona.
Like we have it now.
Like this, rather than it's always pre-recorded.
I
it's
agree.
Something, you know,
so
it's been there and being able to connect
present
with people at the time that whenever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, that real-time connection is going to be more and more important.
Got it. So now that these sort of platforms are more online, you know, people, yes, you can have articles, yes, you can have your sort of pre-filmed clips, but people enjoy the sort of live content and the live interaction as well. And
another big thing is building a community. That's always very important, because we like to belong to a tribe, so to speak.
Who does this guy look like?
Oh,
Steve Jobs.
I know.
Actually, shame we can't show them. That's fine. Totally agree as well. And like how do you create a community around your personal brand that's not just about you per se? Because I know people try to create a community around them, and sort of everyone's like, oh, you know, like, why would I want to follow that person when, you know, all they talk about is just themselves, and they're not really.
That's a good point, because that's another mistake people think. People think building an authority brand is all about building
their own show,
themselves up. Actually, that's and
It's the
charisma.
opposite.
That's the other thing. People that have charisma, people think it's about these showy people and they make themselves important. Actually, charismatic people are charismatic because they make you feel like you're the most important person in the room. And it's the same with our communities. It's actually not about us.
Yeah.
Yes, we are the centre of it, but it's about providing value. It's about
And
getting
caring.
everyone engaged.
Yeah.
And so the less it sounds weird, right? The less it's about you, in a way, it's better.
I mean, is it a sort of point that if you don't focus on yourself, it can hurt you? Like, should there be like a certain percentage where it's about you and like where you're actively ensuring that you're being heard in your community, or like how do you sort of?
It's about you, that you are the focal point, but what you're about is providing value, if that makes sense.
Got it.
So you're not about big noting yourself. In fact, if I tell everyone how great I am, that's worth about a Zippo. If you tell everyone how great I am, that's worth a lot more to me.
It is.
Or if I give free content, or allow people to ask me questions and they experience how great I am, well, that's gold.
That's something on a whole new level. Sounds good. So for people moving into the next 12 months, how would you suggest that they can begin planning their brand? Like, what are your top 3 easy to implement tips for someone who is brand new online?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you've got to get clear on who your market is. And surprisingly...
On the niche within the niche.
Surprisingly, people aren't always that clear. Often we're a solution looking for a problem.
We're a solution looking for a problem rather than trying to find a problem to fix.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because from some of the history I've had, people create a product before finding a market. And then it's like you have to try to find people who want to purchase it, as opposed to talking to them and going, do you have a problem I can fix, right? So that's really flipping it completely around. And that little change alone will make your product creation a lot easier for any industry, anything.
Yeah. And the next thing is you have to get clear on who you are and what you bring to the table, and what I call your brand DNA. You've got to be really clear on the value you provide. And sometimes it's surprising. Like I said, you have to own it all, what I call the good, the bad and the ugly. If you just want to appear perfect, and let's face it, we all actually do. That's actually one of the hardest areas, is to start to own everything we are. And obviously when I work with clients, I have ways of getting them to that. But it's so liberating when you can finally be who you are.
Yeah, because then it just takes so much pressure off you, like, trying to hold up this brand constantly. Yeah, got it.
So be clear on who you're serving, be clear on who you are and the value you have, and then it's about clearly communicating your value, and that's hard for people.
A big one.
And that's why I've got this, always say, if you're not the authority, you're a commodity. That's why you look like a commodity.
Yeah.
When I was working for corporate, we used to have all these agencies come in and pitch. And I kid you not, everyone sounded the same, said the same.
I would love to see that.
It was just like, who said what? Because everyone looks the same, sounds the same, says the same. It's just crazy.
Wow, that's insane.
So to be able to communicate in a way, and remember, emotions sell, facts and figures tell. See, we keep it at a factual level, when we should be engaging more emotionally with people.
So like their hopes and dreams,
exactly.
Got it. That sounds a lot like copywriting as well, and I think copywriting is the most important skill that any marketer and anyone can learn. Over how to do artwork, over how to film scripts, anything. Learn how to communicate, and you can be broke and have a pen and write up a sales letter and go and sell. If that's the right message, you'll be fine. So I agree completely.
Messaging is so important. You get away with a lot.
And it's something that what I found over the last 8.5 years, it's something that I kind of just keep learning more and more about. It doesn't seem to be a sort of an endpoint skill, whereby either the marketplace changes or like I just learn how to get it more clearer every single time as well.
And you would know, just one word sometimes changes.
Copywriting. And like the amount of times I've had prospects tell me that that phrase or that hook point just was like perfect to what they had to hear. It was just endless. So communication is crucial as well. We just had a question from Tartanian. What is your advice to overcome the fear of people's negative opinions about you so you're able to build your personal brand?
Okay, good question, because don't ever wish to be high profile if you can't hack the criticism, because that's part and parcel of it. It just comes with the territory.
Got it.
And I know it's really hard and it's easy to say, oh, don't take it personally. So what I do is a couple of things. One is to realize that it's going to happen anyway. So first of all, you never want to react in a negative light to criticism. It's just not going to help your profile. That's the first thing. The second thing is to realize, well, everyone's got the right to be their opinion. And the way I look at it is that I try and use it so that...
you mean you try to use it...
To motivate me to get better.
Got it.
Yeah?
Okay.
Because imagine if everyone thought you were the best thing. I mean, I'd have the biggest... My partner tells me this, I don't want to give you too many compliments. You're like, get a big head. And that's true.
So, what if it's a sort of problem that, someone can't help? So, like, take for example, my speech. Like, I'm okay now with it, but 8.5 years ago, that would have been something that, would have held me back, right? So for something like that, would you just say to, embrace it and just leave from the front? And
you're never going to please everybody.
And just being conscious of that.
Yeah, and, I get that. Some people just won't relate to me. Well, that's okay.
Got it.
I'm not right for everyone. So that's the first thing to recognise. And whether you put yourself out there or not, people are still judging you. It's just when you're high profile, they're more likely to actually come out publicly. Yeah. But even if you're not high profile, people are judging you and I've worked in corporate and I'm sure there are people who thought I was an idiot and it just didn't tell me.
Amazing as well.
That happens all the time. So yes, it's hard. If it's really nasty, I also wouldn't take those negative comments out unless they're really inappropriate. Unless they're violent or something inappropriate. You leave them there, you go, you know what, I'm sorry, this isn't for you. You're always really polite. Of
course.
And just know that sometimes, and the other thing is, it may be warranted. It might be really good feedback.
Yeah.
But other times, it could be just people being nasty. And it had nothing to do with you anyway.
One thing that I found is that we tend to overplay the possibility of what could happen. And then when we do finally decide to commit to it, there's nothing bad happens. Very rarely will someone, come out and say something outrageous. Sure, you might not get as much interaction as you had thought, but very rarely I've found if you're upfront and if you own your problem, people don't really have anything to attack because you've owned it. Yes. I find, and very rarely has anything for me, and even for my clients blown up in their face, right? So in just being conscious that we tend to overplay what could happen, and then if you just
Sorry, and
that's right.
Sometimes negative comments are good because sometimes what it allows is your supporters, they actually rise to defend you. Yes.
I've seen this, it's the most hilarious thing.
And it unites them and it makes them even more keen to protect you.
And I've seen this, and it's good because it kind of separates the people who should be in your brand and the people who should not be in your brand. So in sort of having any problem or sort of having any fear, it helps to clarify who is your perfect prospect, who is your perfect client. And I think it just comes through owning it, just through being congruent. and just being upfront about any problems, say any track history. Yeah, I think it just comes from that.
And you're spot on. The worst thing that can happen is people are sitting on the fence about you. The worst thing that can happen is Christele, whatever, she's all right. I prefer people go, oh, I love Christele, and then others will say, I can't stand Christele. But both of those are fine with me.
Yeah.
The worst thing is people go, Christele, yeah, whatever.
Or
that's terrible.
That's it. So I think you need to draw that line through owning sort of problems as well.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And if you get criticism, you're in good company. I have a leadership magazine, as you know, and I interview some of the top thought leaders in the world, and a lot of them will say to me, like, I've just written this book and I've poured all this research into it, and someone gives me like a 1 star, and they go, really?
Yeah, that's it. And I think it also comes from having a clear intent, but also being free of the outcome. So if your intent is to put out a really good piece of content, then you would produce it as sort of has that. But then after it gets put out there, you're just free of the outcome. Like, okay, well now it's not in my hands. I've tried the best I could. Whatever happens from like here onwards is just completely out of my hands.
And that's a great way to look at it. And if you're not getting criticism, you're probably not pushing the envelope far enough. You're not probably standing for something enough.
Agreed.
And that's not going to help your brand.
Yeah, this is true. So, I'm going to share a link in the comment, guys, of the clip where I talk about intent and freedom of outcome. So is there anything else you would sort of like to touch on, or sort of any other key points or key takeaways? Any sort of more questions as well, guys? You can feel free to leave a question in the comment box below.
One of the takeaways I'd like to leave everyone is it's not about, when we in marketing create a company brand, it's creative. We decide we're going to have this sort of image. A personal brand, you don't create it. You're already a living, breathing person with values, and it's about drawing that from you. So
it's about sort of like amplifying it almost.
Your personality, everything about you. If you're following your heart and doing something that you really love, you have everything you need to build a strong personal brand and an authoritative brand. You don't have to change yourself.
Got it.
That's really important.
People think they have to be a certain type of like I think you were saying the other evening, like people think that they have to be an extrovert, or people think that they have to be a really good slow speaker, or that they have to have really good charisma or anything like that. But if you own who you are, and then you're going to find people that connect to you.
That's it. You find your tribe. Absolutely.
Find your tribe. I like that phrase.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for your time. If there's no more questions, we will end this. But that was good. No worries. Thank you. So, what you want to do? I finished. There we go. That one. Thank you, guys. We will chat to you soon.